Hello students and welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Shefali Nagpal, Associate Professor at Human Resource Development Center, Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Sonipat. We are studying the paper Development of the Management Thoughts, Principles and Types under the Human Resource Management paper. Today we will discuss about forecasting and decision making. After completing this module, you will be able to understand the concept of forecasting. You will be able to understand the forecasting and decision making concepts and its importance, as well as the relationship between the forecasting and decision making. Let us begin with the topic. The successful businesses of the future are being created today by individuals and the team in tune with the fast moving technologies, new markets and changing lifestyle. New disciplines have sprung up, new professions are born, new skills are in demand. There is a need to blend the new skills with those of the older professions. Many business decisions involve forecasting. In recent years, its scope has expanded well beyond the technical aspects, addresses a broader set of the managerial concerns through down-to-earth description of forecasting, its advantage and limitation, its role in the managerial decision-making process. Forecasting techniques can be helpful to the organization planning for their future. Of many techniques available, only a few are needed in the process of corporate strategic planning. The other method of forecasting may be useful for other more specialized functions within the organization. Let us understand the meaning of forecasting first. In preparing the plans for future, the management authority has to take some predictions about what is likely to happen in the future. It shows that the managers know something of future happening even before things actually happen. Forecasting provides them this knowledge. Forecasting is a process of estimating the relevant events of future based on the analysis of their past and present behavior. The future cannot be probed unless one knows how the events have occurred in the past and how they are occurring presently. The past and present analysis of the events provide the base helpful for collecting information about their future occurrences. Thus, forecasting may be defined as a process of assessing the future, normally using the calculations and projections that take into account the past performance, current trends, anticipated changes in the foreseeable period ahead. Whenever the manager plans business operation and organizational setup for the years ahead, they have to take into account the past, the present, and the prevailing economic, political, and social conditions. Forecasting provides a logical basis for determining in advance the nature of future business operation and the basis of managerial decision about the material, personnel, and their requirements. It is thus the basis of planning. When a business enterprise makes an attempt to look into the future in a systematic and concentrated way, it may discover certain aspects of its operation requiring special attention. However, it must be recognized that process of forecasting involves an element of guesswork, and the managers cannot stay satisfied and relaxed after having prepared a forecast. Students, let us now look at the concept. A manager generally assumes that when asking a forecaster to prepare a specific projection, the request itself provides sufficient information for the forecaster to go to work and do the job. This is almost never true. Successful forecasting begins with a collaboration between the manager and the forecaster, in which they work out the answers to the various questions like what is the purpose of the forecast, how it is to be used. This determines the accuracy and the power required of the techniques and hence governs the selection. Deciding whether to enter a business may require only a rather gross estimate of the size of the market, whereas a forecast made for budgeting purposes should be quite accurate. The appropriate technique differ accordingly. Again, if the forecast is to set a standard against which to evaluate performance, the forecasting method should not take into account special actions such as promotions and other marketing devices. since these are meant to change historical patterns and relationship and hence form a part of the performance to be evaluated. Forecast that simply sketch what the future will be like if a company makes no significant changes in the tactics and strategy are usually not good enough for planning purposes. On the other hand, if managers and the management want a forecast of the effect that a certain marketing strategy under debate will have on sales growth, then the technique must be sophisticated enough to take the explicit account of the special actions and events special actions and events the strategy entails. Techniques vary in their cost as well as in the scope and accuracy. The manager must fix the level of inaccuracy he or she can tolerate. In the other words, decide how his or her decisions will vary depending on the range of the accuracy of the forecast. This allows the forecaster to trade off cost against the value of accuracy in changing the technique. Qualitative techniques. Primarily, these are used when data are scarce. For example, when a product is first introduced into the market. They use human judgment and the rating schemes to turn qualitative information into quantitative estimates. The objective here is to bring together in logical, unbiased and systematic way all information and judgments which relate to the factors being estimated. Such techniques are frequently used in new technology areas where development of the product idea may require several inventions, so that R&D demands are difficult to estimate and where market acceptance and penetration rates are highly uncertain. Time series analysis. These are the statistical techniques used when several years' data for a product or the product line are available and when relationship and trends are both clear and relatively stable. One of the basic principles of statistical forecasting, indeed, for all forecasting when historical data are available, is that forecasters should use data on past performance to get a speedometer reading of the current rate of sales, say, and as of how fast this rate is increasing or decreasing. The current rate and changes in the rate, acceleration and deceleration, constitute the basis of forecasting. Once they are known, various mathematical techniques can develop projections from them. The matter is not so simple as it sounds, however. It is usually difficult to make projections from raw data since the rates and trends are not immediately obvious. They are mixed up with seasonal variations, for example, and perhaps distorted by some factors as the effect of the large sales promotion campaign. The raw data must be managed before they are usable, and this is frequently done by time series analysis. Now, a time series is a set of chronologically ordered points of raw data, for example, a division of sales of a given product by month or for several years. Time series analysis help to identify and explain any regularity or systematic variation in the series of data which is due to seasonality. Then, cyclical patterns that repeat 2 or 3 years or more, trends in the data, growth rate of these trends. Unfortunately, most of the existing methods identify only the seasonals, the combined effect of the trends and the cycles, and the irregular or the chance components are included in that. That is, they do not separate the trends from the cycle. We shall return to this point when we discuss the time series analysis in the final stages of the product maturity. Causal models. When the historical data are available and enough analysis has been performed to spell out explicitly the relationship between the factor to be forecast and other factors such as related businesses, economic forces and socio-economic factors, the forecaster often construct a causal model. A causal model is the most sophisticated kind of forecasting tool. It expresses mathematically the relevant causal relationship and may include pipeline considerations and market survey information. It may also directly incorporate the results of the time series analysis. The causal model takes into account everything known of the dynamics of the flow system and utilizes predictions of the related events such as competitive actions, strikes, and promotions. If the data are available, the model generally includes the factors for each location in the flow chart and connect these by equations to describe the overall product flow. If certain kinds of data are lacking, initially it may be necessary to make assumptions about some of the relationship and then track what is happening to determine if assumptions are true. Typically, a causal model is continuously revised as more knowledge about the system becomes available. Role of forecasting. Since planning involves the future, no usable plan can be made unless the manager is able to take all possible future events into account. This explains why forecasting is a critical element in the planning process. In fact, every decision in the organization is based on some sort of forecasting. It helps the managers in the following ways. Firstly, it is the basis of planning. Forecasting is the key to planning. It generates planning process. Planning decides the future course of action which is expected to take place in certain circumstances and conditions. Unless the manager knows these conditions, they cannot go for the effective planning. Forecasting provides the knowledge of the planning premises within which the manager can analyze their strengths and weaknesses and can take appropriate action in advance before actually they are put out of the market. The forecasting provides the knowledge about the nature of the future condition. Secondly, promotion of the organization. The objective of an organization are achieved through the performance of the certain activities. What activities should be performed depend upon the expected outcome of these activities. Since expected outcome depend on the future events and the way of performing the various activities, forecasting of the future event is of the direct relevance in achieving an objective. Thirdly, it facilitates the coordination and control. Forecasting indirectly provides the way for effective coordination and control. Forecasting requires information about various factors. Information is collected from the various internal and external sources. Almost all units of organization are involved in this process. It provides interactive opportunities for better unity and coordination in the planning process. Similarly, forecasting can provide relevant information for exercising control. The managers can know their weaknesses in the forecasting process and they can take suitable action to overcome these. Fourthly, it helps in the success in the organization. All business enterprises are characterized by the risk and to have to work within the ups and downs of the industry. The risks depend upon the future happening and forecasting provides help to overcome the problem of uncertainties. Though forecasting cannot check the future happening, it provides the clues about those and indicate when the alternative action should be taken. Managers can save their business and face the unfortunate happening if they know in advance what is going to happen. Certain steps involved in the forecasting are: the process of forecasting generally involves the following steps. One is developing the basis. The future estimate of the various business operations will have to be based on the results obtainable through systematic investigation of the economy, products and industry. Second, estimation of the future operation. On the basis of the data collected through the systematic investigation into the economy and industry situation, the manager has to prepare the quantitative estimates of the future scale of business operation. Here the managers will have to take into account the planning premises. Third, regulation of the forecast. It has already been indicated that the managers cannot take it easy after they have formulated a business forecast. They have to constantly compare the actual operations with the forecast prepared in order to find out the reasons for any deviations from forecast. This helps in making more realistic forecast for future. Review of the forecasting process. Having determined the deviations of all the actual performances from the position forecast by the manager, it will be necessary to examine the procedure adopted for the purpose so that improvements can be made in the method of forecasting. Let us discuss the decision making now. The word decides means to come to a conclusion or resolution as to what one is expected to do at some later time. According to the Manley et Jones, it is a solution selected after examining the several alternatives chosen because the decider foresees that the course of action he selects will do more than the others to further his goals and will be accompanied by the fewest possible objectionable consequences. Decision is a choice whereby a person comes to a conclusion about the given circumstances and situation. It represents a course of behavior or action about what one is expected to do or not to do. Decision making may, therefore, be defined as a selection of one of the course of action from two or more alternative course of action. Thus, it involves a choice making activity and the choice determines our action or inaction. Decision making is an indispensable part of life. Innumerable decisions are taken by the human being in day-to-day life. In business undertaking, decisions are taken at every step. All managerial functions with planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating and controlling, they all are carried out through decisions. Decision making is thus the core managerial activity in any organization. Step involved in decision making process. Decision making involves a number of steps which need to be taken in a logical manner. This is treated as the rational or scientific decision making process, which is lengthy and time consuming. Such lengthy process need to be followed in order to take the rational, scientific and result-oriented decisions. Decision-making process prescribes some rules and guidelines as to how a decision should be taken or made. This involves many steps logically arranged. It was Peter Drucker who first strongly advocated the scientific method of decision-making in his work. Step involved in decision-making process. Decision-making involves a number of the steps which need to be taken in logical manner. It is treated as rational and scientific decision-making process, which is lengthy and time-consuming. Such lengthy process need to be followed in order to take the rational, scientific, result-oriented decisions. Decision-making process prescribes some rules and guidelines as to how a decision should be taken or made. This involves many steps which are logically arranged. It was Peter Drucker who first strongly advocated the scientific method of decision making in his world famous book, The Practice of Management, published in the year 1955. Drucker recommended the scientific method of decision making, which, according to him, involved the following 6 steps. 1. Defining and identifying the managerial problem. 2nd, analyzing the problem. 3rd, collecting data. 4th, developing alternative solution. 5th, selecting the best solution out of the available alternatives. 6th, converting the decision into action and ensuring the feedback for follow-up. Let us study one by one. Identifying the problem. Identification of the real problem before a business enterprise is the first step in the process of decision making. It is rightly said that the problem well defined is a problem half solved. Information relevant to the problem should be gathered so that the critical analysis of the problem is possible. This is how the problem can be diagnosed. Clear distinction should be made between the problem and the symptoms that could be the real issue. In brief, the manager should search the critical factor at work. It is the point at which the choice applies. Similarly, while diagnosing the real problem, the manager should consider the causes and find out whether they are controllable or uncontrollable. Second, analyzing the problem. After defining the problem, the next step in the decision-making process is to analyze the problem in depth. This is necessary to classify the problem in order to know who must take the decision and who must be informed about the decision taken. Here, the following 4 factors should be kept in mind. First, futurity of the decision, the scope of its impact, number of the qualitative consideration involved, and uniqueness of the decision. Third point, collecting the relevant data. After defining the problem and analyzing its nature, the next step is to obtain the relevant information and the data about it. There is information flood in the business world due to the new developments in the field of information technology. All available information should be utilized fully for analyzing the problem. This brings clarity in all aspects of the problem. Fourth is developing the alternative solution. After the problem has been defined, diagnosed on the basis of the relevant information, the manager has to determine available alternative courses of action that could be used to solve that problem in hand. Only realistic alternatives should be considered. It is equally important to take into account time and cost constraints and psychological barriers that will restrict that number of alternatives. If necessary, group participation techniques may be used while developing alternative solution, as depending on one solution is undesirable. Fifth, selecting the best solution. After preparing the alternative solution, the next step in the decision making process is to select an alternative that seems to be the most rational for solving the problem. The alternative thus selected must be communicated to those who are likely to be affected by it. Acceptance of the decision by the group members is always desirable and useful for its effective implementation. Sixth point is converting decision into action. After the selection of the best decision, the next step is to convert the selected decision into the effective decision and action. Without such action, the decision will remain merely a declaration of the good intentions. Here the manager has to convert his or her decision into their decisions through his or her leadership. For this, the subordinates should be taken in the confidence and they should be convinced about the correctness of the decision. Thereafter, the manager has to take follow-up steps in the execution of the decision taken. Ensuring feedback is the next step. Feedback is the last step in the decision-making process. Here the manager has to make built-in arrangements to ensure feedback for continuously testing actual developments against the expectations. It is like checking the effectiveness of follow-up measures. Feedback is possible in the form of organized information, reports, and personal observation. Feedback is necessary to decide whether the decision already taken should be continued or be modified in the light of changed conditions. Let us summarize what we have studied in this module. Decision making is a vital skill in the business workplace, particularly for the managers and those in the leadership position. Following a logical procedure like the one outlined here, along with being aware of the common challenges, one can help ensure both thoughtful decision making and positive results. That's all in this module. Thank you.